Comedy is not easy. It's an art form that takes a lot of dedication as you learn the structure of setups and punchlines, understanding the material you're making fun of, and perfecting the timing of delivery to get the reactions you want. It's a very hard form that looks so easy when done right. But let's face it, no one has successfully dethroned Mel Brooks. The original Looney Tunes will always be the best. Adam Sandler is no longer funny. It's true, Kyle. And Mission Earth will never be a successful satire. But when you find the ones that do it so well, it is simply magical. Like giant space turtles, flat earths, pathetic wizards, walking luggage, and insurance. Magical. Welcome, my friends, to the insanity that is Discworld. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, my name is David Popovich, aka the Bookworm, and welcome to Bookworm Reviews. Sit back and relax as we dive into The Color of Magic, the first Discworld novel by Terry Pratchett. The Discworld novels are a weird piece of fantasy, in that it's a world that makes no sense, and you know that because the book starts off by describing what Discworld is, in that it's an actual huge world shaped as a disc, put in flat earther joke here, carried on the back of 4 giant elephants riding on the back of a giant space turtle. No, I have not taken leave of my senses. The turtle even has a name, a tune, and is a subject to many debates by the denizens of Discworld, like, what is its sex? A truly serious discussion which leads to many theories like that Atun was crawling from the birthplace to the time of mating, as were all the stars and skies, which were obviously also carried by giant turtles. When they arrived, they would briefly and passionately mate for the first and only time, and from that fiery union, new turtles would be born to carry a new pattern of worlds. This was known as the Big Bang Hypothesis. Ha ha! Bang! Yeah. The first joke in the book is about sex. And it only gets better from here. Pratchett has stated he started the Discworld novels because he wanted to create a fantasy story like Blazing Saddles did for westerns. And boy did he succeed in that! After we learn about the giant space turtle, we are taken to the city of Ankh-Morpork as it's burning to the ground. You know, like any other day. 2 common heroes ride in to see what caused it, only to find the wizard Rainswind, who sets things up. I was there when it started. See him? Back there? He pointed back down the road to where his traveling companion was still approaching, having adopted a method of riding that involved falling out of the saddle every few seconds. Well, said Weasel. He started it, said Rainswind simply. We then jump back as we learned that just yesterday, the city of Ankh-Morpork got a new visitor who speaks a strange language no one can understand and is followed by a luggage with many tiny feet. He stays at a local inn, and his strange luggage captures the attention of Rainswind, who appears to look like an important wizard. But Rainswind, after an unfortunate event, had left knowing only one spell, and made a living of sorts around the town by capitalizing on an innate gift for language. So he uses his skill of language to communicate with his visitor, Two-Flower, telling him it'd be best to leave this inn since it's a tough place. Good! You say this is a tough place. Frequented, you mean, by heroes and men of adventure? Rainswind, consider this. Yes? He managed. Excellent! I would like to meet some. You see, the reason Two-Flower came to Ankh-Morpork is to experience adventure, to enjoy life away from his low-end cubicle job. I just couldn't stand it anymore back in Bezplorak, Two-Flower went on blithering, sitting at a desk all day, just adding up columns of figures, just a pension to look forward to at the end of it. Where's the romance in that? Since Rainswind is a local, Two-Flower hires him to be his guide and pays him with pure gold. What low-end cubicle job pays in pure gold? In sewer ants? Repeated Rainswind. That's a funny word. You're kidding. He's giving a tour to an insurance agent? Trust me, that is not the weirdest part. When Two-Flower gives Rainswind an advance on his payment, he does the coward thing and runs away. But the city officials capture him and explain the situation of how amazing he better make Two-Flower's tour. He landed this morning. He might have met a great hero, or the cunningest of thieves, or some wise and great sage. He met you. He has employed you as a guide. You will be a guide. Ricewind, to this looker, this two-flower, you will see that he returns home with a good report of our little homeland. What do you say to that? Thank you, Lord, said Ricewind miserably. But news of Two Flowers' wealth starts to spread throughout a city known for its gangs, thieves, and ruffians. And believe me, that is the least of Ricewind's concerns, cause burning an entire city to the ground is just the first part of his insane journey with Two Flower that will lead them towards facing a Lovecraftian elder god, imaginary dragons, and the literal edge of the earth. And that's not including the fact that the spell Ricewind knows is one of the 8 basic spells that could unleash unknown horrors to the world, or that death is always following him, or being part of a human sacrifice, or finding out you're a playing piece for the Gods D&D game. I did mention Discworld is weird, right? And that, more or less, is the basic premise of The Color of Magic. And of course it's brilliant. It's Terry Pratchett. He presents a story that is honestly a 1980s comedy. Think about it. It's about 2 guys with wild personalities getting in a bunch of wacky shenanigans with a world that is just as wacky. It's planes, trains, and automobiles, but with wizards, dragons, and trolls. All done with tongue firmly in cheek with Pratchett's iconic wit and imagination. What are you gritty for? He asked the figure on the next branch. I can't help it, said Death. Now would you be so kind as to let go? I can't hang around all day. I can, said Ricewind defiantly. The wolves clustered around the base of the tree looked up, with interest at their next meal, talking to himself. It won't hurt, said Death. If words had weight, a single sentence from Death would have anchored a ship. Won't hurt, he said. Being torn apart by wolves won't hurt. I could spend the rest of this review just showcasing the humor of the book, but that would ruin the fun, wouldn't it? Now, if I did have any complaints, it would be the ending feels a little mute. Part of that is in the general structure of the book. The story doesn't have chapters, but sections for the different misadventures that happen. They're pretty much novellas. While there is some overlap, they are mostly standalones, and the way the book ends feels off because there's no sense of closure. And yes, Discworld fans, I know the next book picks where this one leaves off, but we aren't talking about that yet. But really, that's my only grievance, because everything else about the book is just a joy to read. There is a lot about the Discworld series I have to talk about, because this series would later tackle some serious subject matter. But right now, all The Color of Magic does is introduce us to the wacky logic and characters who live on a flat earth riding the back of 4 elephants on the back of a giant space turtle. And really, do you need anything else? Plus I have 40 more books to review, so I think I have some time. So yeah, if by some odd chance you haven't read a Discworld novel, fix that ASAP. You're doing yourself a disservice. What about you, Internet? What's your opinion about The Color of Magic? A special thanks to Lamblin for suggesting the book. Thank you for your support. If you have a book you would like me to review, let me know in the comments below. Next week, we go back to the world of young adult dystopia and... oh boy. At least they're sexy. Till next time, have a nice day.